The colony ship New Horizons drifted through space like a sleeping giant. Inside its metal halls, 15,000 humans lived and worked, all dreaming of their new home on Kepler 442b. They had been traveling for 8 months, and their destination was only 3 weeks away. Admiral Kyle Martinez stood on the bridge, watching the stars through the main window. He was a calm man with gray hair and kind eyes. Behind him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. The ship's computers hummed softly, and everything felt peaceful. "Sir," called Lieutenant Amy Foster from her station, "we're getting signals from unknown ships." Martinez turned around. "How many ships?" "At least 50, sir. They're big ones, too." Martinez walked to the communication station. "Put them on screen." The main display showed 5 massive warships moving toward them. The ships were dark and covered in spikes. They looked like metal sharks with weapons instead of teeth. "This is Admiral Kyle Martinez of the human colony ship New Horizons," he said into the microphone. "We are peaceful travelers heading to our new home. How can we help you?" The screen changed to show an alien face. The creature had blue skin, 4 eyes, and sharp teeth. Its voice was deep and angry. "I am Fleet Commander Vex Thule of the Zephyrian Collective. You will stop your ship and prepare to be boarded." Martinez kept his voice calm. "We are not carrying anything dangerous. We're just families looking for a new place to live. Is there a problem?" Vex Thule's 4 eyes glowed red. "Your species has technology we want. Your terraforming machines that change dead planets into living worlds. You will give them to us." "I'm sorry, but I can't do that," Martinez replied. "Those machines belong to Earth. I would need permission from our home planet before sharing any technology." The alien's face twisted with anger. "You dare refuse the Zephyrian Collective? We have conquered 3 star systems. We have destroyed entire species. You are nothing but weak humans in a slow ship." Martinez felt his heart beating faster, but he kept his voice steady. "We don't want any trouble. Please let us continue to our destination. We're not bothering anyone." Vex Thule stood up from his chair. Behind him, other Zephyrian warriors snarled and showed their claws. "You think we care about your peaceful mission? Watch what happens when you refuse us." The screen changed to show the outside view. Dozens of Zephyrian warships surrounded the New Horizons. Their weapons began to glow with dangerous energy. "You see our power," Vex Thule said. "Now you will surrender your technology, or we will take it from your dead bodies." Martinez looked at his crew. They were scared but trying to stay brave. Many of them had families on the ship. Children were sleeping in their beds just a few decks below. "Please," Martinez said. "There are children on this ship. Families. We're not soldiers. We're just people looking for a new home." Vex Thule laughed, and the sound was like breaking glass. "Children? Good. Then they can watch their parents die if you don't give us what we want." The alien leaned closer to his screen. His eyes were full of hate. "But maybe we don't need to wait. Maybe we should send a message to all humans. Maybe we should burn every human settlement until Earth itself kneels before the Zephyrian Collective." Martinez felt the blood drain from his face. The alien had just threatened Earth. He had threatened every human in the galaxy. "You're threatening Earth?" Martinez asked quietly. "Yes," Vex Thule snarled. "We will burn your colonies. We will destroy your ships. We will make your home planet beg for mercy. The age of human expansion is over." The communication cut off. Martinez stood in silence for a moment. His crew waited for orders. "Sir?" Lieutenant Foster asked. "What do we do?" Martinez walked to the emergency communication station. This was a special transmitter that could send messages across the entire galaxy instantly. It was only used for the most serious emergencies. "Record this message," he told the computer. "Send it to every communication network in the galaxy." The computer beeped. "Recording." Martinez spoke clearly into the microphone. "This is Admiral Kyle Martinez of the human colony ship New Horizons. The Zephyrian Collective has just threatened to destroy all human settlements and make Earth surrender. They have broken the galaxy's oldest law. They have threatened the Earthborn." He paused and looked out at the Zephyrian ships. The threat was made by Fleet Commander Vexthul at coordinates 847, 3 by 294.7 in the Kepler system. This message is being sent to all civilizations as proof of this violation. The computer beeped again. Message sent across all galactic networks. Within minutes, something strange began to happen. The Zephyrian ship started receiving messages from across the galaxy, not from humans but from other alien species. Vexthul appeared on screen again, but now he looked confused. "What did you do, human?" Martinez smiled sadly. "I told the truth. You threatened Earth and all her children. Every civilization in the galaxy just heard you say it." "So what?" Vexthul shouted. "Let them hear. We are not afraid of—" His words were cut off as his communication officer whispered something in his ear. Vexthul's face changed from anger to worry. "What do you mean the trade routes are closing?" he demanded. More whispers. Vexthul's blue skin became pale. "The Galactic Council is going silent? The ethereals are retreating to their home dimension?" Martinez watched as fear slowly replaced anger on the alien's face. "What did you do?" Vexthul whispered. "Nothing," Martinez replied. "But you broke a law that's older than your civilization. You threatened the Earthborn. Now the galaxy remembers why that law exists." In the distance, stars began to flicker as massive ships jumped to hyperspace. All across the galaxy, civilizations were running away from something that was coming. Martinez looked at his crew. "Send another message to Earth. Tell them we're safe for now, but we might need help soon." As the message traveled toward humanity's home, Martinez wondered what would happen next. He had heard stories, old stories that most people thought were just myths. Stories about what humans could do when their children were threatened. Looking at the Zephyrian ships surrounding his peaceful colony vessel, Martinez hoped those stories were true. The galaxy was about to remember why you never threatened the Earthborn. President Lisa Carter sat in the emergency meeting room deep under the White House. The walls were thick metal, and the room had no windows. Around the table sat the most important people in human space. All of them looked serious and worried. "Play." "The message again," President Carter said. The big screen showed Admiral Martinez's face. His voice was calm but scared as he explained what the Zephyrian commander had said. When the message ended, the room was quiet. "How long ago did this happen?" asked Fleet Admiral Jake Morrison. He was a big man with white hair and scars on his hands. 4 hours ago," replied General Kate Wilson. "The message reached Earth 3 hours ago. It's already been sent to every communication network in the galaxy." President Carter stood up and walked to the window that showed the garden above them. "Jake, what's the status of our diplomatic fleet?" Admiral Morrison smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. "All ships are ready, Madam President. The crews have been waiting for this day for a long time." "Good. Send the activation codes to all our friends out there. It's time to wake up." Across the solar system, hidden transmitters began sending secret messages. These messages had been prepared years ago, waiting for the day when someone would threaten Earth's children. On Mars, Dr. Rachel Stone was working in her laboratory when her computer started beeping. She looked at the screen and saw a message she had hoped would never come. Authorization code read 7. All peaceful operations are now suspended. Begin military production immediately. Rachel sighed and pressed her hand against a hidden scanner. The laboratory around her began to change. Walls moved apart to show huge manufacturing machines. The terraforming research facility had been a disguise. This was actually one of the most advanced weapons factories in human space. "Computer, begin production of Thunderlance missiles. Make as many as possible." "Yes, Dr. Stone, production will begin in 10 minutes. On Europa Station, Commander Alex Turner was eating dinner when his personal communicator buzzed. He read the message and stood up quickly. "All civilian personnel, please return to your quarters immediately. This is not a drill." Alex walked to a wall that looked normal. He pressed his hand against it and a hidden door opened. Behind the door was a room full of weapons and military equipment. The mining operation on Europa had never been about mining. It was a secret military base that watched everything happening in the galaxy. Computer, remove all civilian disguises from the station. Activate all defense systems. The outside of the station began to change. Fake mining equipment fell away to show missile launchers and energy weapons. What had looked like a peaceful research station now looked like a fortress. In the asteroid belt, Captain Maya Rodriguez commanded the exploration ship Endurance. She was studying space rocks when her ship's computer spoke. "Captain, we have received activation codes. All pretense protocols are now ended." Maya smiled. She had been pretending to be a peaceful explorer for 5 years. "Computer, remove our disguise. Show the crew what this ship really is." The Endurance began to change. The outer hull split apart and fell away like old skin. Under the fake explorer, ship was something that looked like it came from a nightmare. The real Endurance was black as space and covered in weapons that most aliens had never seen before. "Set course for the Kepler system," Maya ordered. "It's time to collect our people." Back on Earth, Admiral Morrison stood in the command center of the Sol Defense Fleet. Around him, officers worked at dozens of computers. The main screen showed a map of human space. "Admiral," called Commander Steve Parker, "all hidden assets are reporting ready. The ghost fleets are awaiting orders." Morrison nodded. For 30 years, humanity had been placing secret military bases throughout the galaxy. They had disguised warships as cargo vessels and hidden weapons inside peaceful space stations. Other aliens thought humans were just curious explorers who liked to travel and trade. They were wrong. "Send a message to all fleet commanders," Morrison said. "Operation Guardian is now active. Protect all human civilians. Destroy any threat to Earth's children." The message went out to hundreds of ships hiding in the darkness between stars. These ships had been waiting in silent mode for years, their crews sleeping in special beds that kept them young. Now they were waking up. Captain Ben Carter opened his eyes inside his sleep chamber aboard the battleship UES Retribution. The ship's computer was speaking to him. "Captain Carter, we have received activation codes. The Zephyrian Collective has threatened Earth and her colonies." Ben sat up and smiled. He had been waiting for this day for 7 years. "Wake up the crew. Remove our cargo disguises. It's time to show the galaxy what the Retribution can really do." The ship that had been pretending to be a peaceful cargo vessel began to transform. Hidden weapon systems came online. Advanced shields powered up. The Retribution was humanity's most secret weapon, a ship that could fight entire fleets by itself. On a secret moon base near Pluto, thousands of human soldiers began waking up from long sleep. These were the special operations teams, the ones who could fight in any environment. Their leader, Colonel Lisa Brooks, read the mission orders. Target: Zephyrian Collective. Mission: rescue human civilians and demonstrate consequences for threatening Earth. Rules of engagement: show them why the galaxy fears us. She looked at her soldiers. They were the best fighters humanity had ever trained. Gear up. We're going to remind an entire alien race why you don't threaten human children. President Carter watched the reports coming in from across human space. Hidden bases were revealing themselves. Secret weapons were coming online. The peaceful human civilization that other aliens knew was just the surface. Underneath was something much more dangerous. "Madam President," Admiral Morrison said, "all assets are active. We have over 300 warships ready for combat, and more are being prepared. Our special forces teams are moving towards Zephyrian space." President Carter nodded. "Send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them that humanity is now under war protocols. Any ship that approaches human space will be considered hostile." "Yes, Madam President." She looked at the star map again. Somewhere out there, Admiral Martinez and 15,000 innocent people were surrounded by alien warships. They had threatened to burn human colonies and make Earth surrender. "Jake," she said quietly, "show them what happens when you threaten our family." Admiral Morrison smiled. "It will be my pleasure, Madam President." Across the galaxy, ancient civilizations were remembering old stories. Stories about the last time humans had gone to war. Stories about why the oldest law in the galaxy said you should never threaten the Earthborn. The Zephyrians were about to learn why those stories were told. Captain Ben Carter stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution and watched the Zephyrian fleet approach. 300 alien warships moved through space like angry wasps. Their weapons were charged and ready to fire. "Sir," said Lieutenant Tom Davis from his station, "the enemy fleet will reach us in 10 minutes. Ben nodded. His ship looked small compared to the Zephyrian fleet. The aliens probably thought this would be an easy fight. They were wrong. "Open a channel to the lead ship," Ben ordered. The main screen showed Commander Vexthol's angry face. "Human vessel, you will surrender immediately. You cannot fight the entire Zephyrian collective." Ben smiled. "Commander Vexthul, this is Captain Ben Carter of the UES Retribution. I have a message for you. Speak quickly, human. My patience is gone." Ben's voice became cold and hard. "You broke the oldest law. You threatened children who just wanted to find a new home among the stars. That was your mistake." Vexthul laughed. "One human ship against 300 Zephyrian warships? You are brave but stupid." "We'll see," Ben replied. "Computer, broadcast this fight to every communication network in the galaxy. Let everyone watch what happens when you threaten the Earthborn." The communication ended. Ben looked at his crew. They were calm and ready. They had trained for this moment their entire lives. "Weapon status?" Ben asked. "All systems ready, sir," replied Lieutenant Sarah Mills. "Quantum torpedoes loaded. Energy weapons at full power. Adaptive shields online." "Good. Let's show them what the Retribution can do." The Zephyrian fleet opened fire first. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles flew toward the human ship. The space around the Retribution lit up like a deadly fireworks show. But something amazing happened. The human ship's shields didn't just block the attacks. They absorbed the energy and made the shields stronger. The more the Zephyrians fired, the more powerful the Retribution became. "Return fire," Ben ordered. The Retribution fired back, but its weapons were different from anything the galaxy had seen before. The quantum torpedoes didn't just explode when they hit enemy ships. They made the ships disappear from reality for a few seconds, then brought them back as scrap metal. The energy weapons were even worse. They learned how to penetrate enemy shields after the first shot. By the second shot, they went through the shields like they weren't there. In the first minute of fighting, 20 Zephyrian ships were destroyed. In the second minute, 30 more were gone. The aliens kept firing, but their weapons couldn't hurt the human ship. Commander Vexthol watched in horror as his fleet died around him. "How is this possible? Our weapons are the most advanced in the galaxy." His weapons officer looked scared. "Sir, their ship is using technology we don't understand. Our computers can't even identify what they're doing." Ben's voice came over the communication system again. "Did you really think we spent 200 years exploring the galaxy just to look at pretty stars? We were learning. We were preparing." The Retribution moved through the Zephyrian fleet like a shark through small fish. Its weapons never missed, and enemy fire couldn't touch it. The human ship seemed to know where every enemy was before they fired. "Impossible," Vexthol screamed. "No single ship can defeat an entire fleet." "You're right," Ben replied. "One ship can't defeat an entire fleet. But we're not just one ship." Suddenly, space around the battle began to change. The stars seemed to bend and twist. Then impossible things started appearing out of nothing. First, 10 human ships became visible, then 20, then 50, then hundreds. The Zephyrians realized, with growing terror, that they had been surrounded by an entire human fleet that had been hiding in space. The human ships had been invisible, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal themselves. Admiral Jake Morrison's voice echoed across all communication channels. "Attention all civilizations. The Zephyrian collective has violated galactic law. Human space is now under war protocols. Any vessel approaching human territory will be considered hostile." The newly visible human fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The ships were sleek and black, covered in weapons that seemed to bend light around them. They moved without making any sound, like ghosts in the darkness. "This is impossible," Vexthol whispered. "How long have you been out here?" Captain Carter answered. "Some of these ships have been waiting in the void for 30 years. Others have been hidden near your borders for decades. Did you think we would send our children to the stars without protection?" The battle continued, but it wasn't really a battle anymore. It was a demonstration. The human ships didn't just fight. They danced around the Zephyrian fleet, destroying ships with surgical precision while avoiding any damage to themselves. Captain Maya Rodriguez arrived in the Endurance. Her ship now revealed in its true form. She opened a channel to the Zephyrian commander. "Commander Vexthul, this is Captain Rodriguez. I was studying asteroids in this system when you threatened our people. That made me very angry." Her ship fired once. The energy beam passed through 17 Zephyrian ships in a perfect line, disabling them all without killing anyone. "Surrender now," she continued, "and we might let some of your fleet go home." Vexthul looked around at what remained of his mighty fleet. In 4 minutes, the humans had destroyed or disabled over 200 ships. His flagship was surrounded by human vessels that seemed to appear and disappear at will. "How?" he asked, quietly. "How did you hide this from us?" Admiral Morrison's image appeared on every screen in the Zephyrian fleet. "We learned patience from the ancient races. We learned stealth from the void itself. But most importantly, we learned that the galaxy is a dangerous place for children." The Admiral paused and looked directly at Vexthul. "So we made sure our children would never be alone in the dark." The remaining Zephyrian ships tried to retreat, but they found that human vessels blocked every escape route. They were trapped in a cage made of starships that shouldn't exist. "Attention, Zephyrian fleet," Ben announced. "You have 2 choices. Surrender and face trial for your crimes, or continue fighting and face extinction. Choose quickly." Vexthul looked at his crew. They were all staring at him with fear and defeat in their eyes. Around them, human ships waited silently like predators deciding whether to finish their prey. For the first time in his life, the proud Zephyrian commander understood true terror. The humans hadn't just defeated his fleet. They had made it look easy. In the distance, the colony ship New Horizons continued on its peaceful journey toward Kepler 442b. Admiral Martinez watched the battle from his bridge, amazed at what he was seeing. The galaxy was learning a lesson that would be remembered for thousands of years. Never threaten the Earthborn. The Zephyrian homeworld had never seen fear like this before. For thousands of years, they had been the predators of the galaxy. Now, something was hunting them. High Commander Zexmar stood in the war room of the capital city, surrounded by his generals. They were all watching the reports coming in from their fleet. The news was impossible to believe. 300 ships, General Kylath said, his voice shaking. "The humans destroyed 300 ships in 4 minutes." "It's impossible," Zexmar replied. "Our intelligence said the humans only had peaceful exploration vessels. Where did this fleet come from?" Before anyone could answer, the room's communication system activated. A human voice spoke calmly. "This is Lieutenant Sam Parker of the Earth Defense Corps. I'm currently standing in your capital city's main plaza. I have a message for the High Council." Every Zephyrian in the room froze. The voice was coming from inside their most secure building, on their homeworld, surrounded by millions of soldiers. "Computer, show us the plaza," Zexmar ordered. The main screen changed to show the busy plaza outside. Thousands of Zephyrians walked around, going about their daily business. In the center of the plaza stood a single human in a simple environmental suit. "Impossible," whispered General Mordek. "How did he get past our defenses?" The human looked up at the cameras watching him. Even through his helmet, they could see he was smiling. "High Commander Zexmar," Sam said, somehow knowing exactly where the leaders were watching from. "My name is Sam Parker. I need to speak with you about the mistake your fleet made." Zexmar activated the communication system. "Human, you are surrounded by an entire planet of warriors. How did you get here?" Sam looked around the plaza casually. "I walked. Your security isn't as good as you think it is." "Guards!" Zexmar shouted. "Arrest that human!" Hundreds of Zephyrian soldiers ran into the plaza from all directions. They carried the most advanced weapons their civilization had ever made. The human stood perfectly still as they surrounded him. "Put down your weapons and surrender," the lead soldier commanded. Sam raised his hand slowly. "I'm not here to fight, I'm here to deliver a message. Take him." the soldier ordered. What happened next would be talked about for generations. Sam moved like water and lightning combined. The Zephyrian soldiers were fast and strong, but the human was something else entirely. He didn't hurt them. That was the strangest part. Sam moved between their attacks like he could see the future, disarming soldiers and knocking them unconscious without causing any real damage. In less than 30 seconds, 200 elite warriors lay sleeping in the plaza. Sam picked up his communication device and spoke again. As I was saying, I have a message for you. The generals in the war room stared at their screens in shock. General Kylath's voice was barely a whisper. What kind of training do these humans have? Sam continued speaking as if nothing had happened. Release the crew of the New Horizons immediately. Cease all military operations against human space. You have one standard day to comply. Zexmar found his voice. You're just one human. Do you think you can threaten an entire planet? Sam's voice became very quiet and very serious. High Commander, I'm not threatening you. I'm warning you. I walked through your planetary defense system like it wasn't there. I infiltrated your most secure facility without triggering a single alarm. I could have eliminated your entire leadership at any time. He paused and looked directly at the camera again. But I didn't. Do you know why? Why? Zexmar asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. Because we don't want to hurt you. We just want you to stop threatening our children. The communication went silent. Sam turned and walked away from the plaza like he was taking a casual stroll. Every camera on the planet tracked him, but somehow, he just disappeared. Find him, Zexmar screamed. Search every building. Check every street. But Sam was gone, vanished as mysteriously as he had appeared. Across the galaxy, other civilizations were watching the human response with growing terror. The peaceful traders and explorers they had known for decades were revealing their true nature. On the edge of Zephyrian space, Captain Nina Brooks commanded the stealth frigate Shadowwalker. Her ship was completely invisible to enemy sensors as she approached a Zephyrian military base. Target locked, reported her weapons officer, Lieutenant Jack Stone. Fire, Nina ordered. The Shadowwalker fired a single shot. The Zephyrian bases, shields, weapons, and communication systems all shut down at the same time. The base was now defenseless, but no one was hurt. Nina opened a communication channel to the base. This is Captain Brooks of the human fleet. Your base has been disabled. Evacuate all personnel immediately. You have 1 hour. The Zephyrian base commander appeared on screen. How did you get past our sensors? We didn't detect your ship at all. Nina smiled. We've been watching your bases for 20 years. We know everything about your defenses. We know how to shut them down without firing a shot. Her ship faded back into invisibility and moved to the next target. This was happening all across Zephyrian space. Human ships appeared from nowhere, disabled military installations, and vanished again. No one was killed, but the message was clear. The humans could strike anywhere, anytime. Back on Earth, President Carter watched the reports in the Situation Room. Admiral Morrison stood beside her, reading updates from their forces. Status report, she requested. All human civilians are safe, Morrison replied. We've disabled 17 Zephyrian military bases and captured 3 of their supply fleets. No human casualties, minimal enemy casualties. Good. And the other civilizations? They're staying out of our way. Most of them have recalled their ships from the border regions. The Galactic Council has gone completely silent. President Carter nodded. What about the Ethereals? Morrison looked surprised. The Ethereals? They haven't been seen in physical space for over a century. Why do you ask? Before Carter could answer, the room's communication system activated. A voice spoke that sounded like music and starlight combined. Greetings, President Carter. This is the Ethereal Collective. Everyone in the room stood up straight. The Ethereals were older than most civilizations. They existed as pure energy and rarely spoke to physical beings. We have been watching the current situation with great interest, the voice continued. The young races seem to have forgotten the lessons of history. What lessons? President Carter asked. The lessons about why the law exists, about why one must never threaten the Earthborn, Morrison leaned forward. You know about our history? The ethereal voice seemed amused. Young Admiral, we were there when humans first left their star system. We watched them spread across the galaxy like seeds on the wind. We saw what happened the last time someone threatened their children. The room was completely silent. What happened? Carter asked quietly. An entire stellar empire learned that humans are gardeners who cultivate peace. But when pushed, they harvest war itself. The communication ended, leaving the humans alone with their thoughts. In Zephyrian space, Commander Vexithul sat in the ruins of his flagship. Around him, the wreckage of his once mighty fleet drifted in space. Human ships surrounded them like silent guardians. He activated his personal communicator and sent a message to his homeworld. High Command, this is Vexthul. I have failed. The humans, they're not what we thought they were. They're something else entirely. He looked out at the human fleet that had appeared from nowhere. Send word to all Zephyrian forces. Do not engage the humans. Do not threaten their colonies. And whatever you do, do not harm their children. The galaxy was learning, a lesson it should never have forgotten. The sleeping giant was awake and it was very, very angry. The Zephyrian homeworld trembled as human ships appeared in orbit. Not hundreds of ships, but thousands. They came from empty space like ghosts becoming real, surrounding the planet in perfect formation. High Commander Zexmar stood at his office, window looking up at the sky. The human fleet blocked out the stars. Their ships were beautiful and terrible, like deadly works of art floating in the darkness. Sir, General Keelath said behind him, the humans are requesting communication. Zexmar turned around slowly. His proud shoulders were bent with defeat. Put them through. The main screen showed President Lisa Carter sitting in what looked like a simple office. Behind her stood Admiral Morrison and other human leaders. They looked calm, almost sad. High Commander Zexmar, President Carter said. I'm President, Carter of Earth. We need to talk. What do you want? Zexmar asked. You've already defeated our fleet. You've disabled our military bases. Your people have proven they can go anywhere and do anything. What more is there to discuss? Carter leaned forward. We want to explain something that you don't seem to understand. She gestured to someone off screen. Show him the recordings. The screen split to show images from across the galaxy, human families living on distant worlds, children playing in new colonies, scientists studying strange plants and animals, teachers showing alien students how to read human books. For 300 years, Carter said, we've lived peacefully among the stars. We've traded with every civilization we've met. We've shared our food, our music, our stories. We've built friendships that span light years. More images appeared. Humans helping alien refugees. Human doctors treating sick aliens with no payment. Human engineers building schools on worlds that had never seen them before. We asked for nothing more than the right to exist and grow, Carter continued. We wanted to explore. We wanted to learn. We wanted our children to see wonders we could never imagine. The images changed to show the colony ship New Horizons, families preparing for their new life on Kepler 442b, children drawing pictures of the home they would build among alien stars. And then you chose to threaten our children. Zexmar felt something he had never experienced before. Shame. We didn't know. You didn't know what? Carter asked. That we would defend our families? That we would protect our children? What exactly didn't you know? Admiral Morrison stepped forward. Commander, what did you think would happen when you threatened to burn human colonies and make Earth surrender? Zexmar had no answer. In his mind, humans had been weak creatures who were easy to intimidate. He had been completely wrong. We're going to give you a choice, Carter said. The same choice we give to every civilization that threatens us. She stood up and walked to her window. Behind her, Earth turned slowly in space, blue and green and beautiful. You can stand trial for your crimes and accept the consequences. Your people will be restricted from leaving your home system for 50 years. Your military will be reduced to defensive forces only. You will pay compensation to the families you threatened." She turned back to face the camera. "Or you can refuse and face the consequences of total war with humanity." Zexmar looked around at his generals. They were all staring at him with fear and hope in their eyes. Hope that he would make the right choice. "What happens if we choose the trial?" he asked. Carter smiled, and for the first time, it was a kind smile. "Then we help you rebuild. We share our technology for peaceful purposes. We teach your children about the galaxy beyond your borders. We become friends instead of enemies. And if we refuse," the smile disappeared, "then you learn why the galaxy's oldest law exists." The communication went silent for a long moment. Zexmar looked up at the human fleet surrounding his world. Each ship was a reminder of how badly he had miscalculated. He began, then stopped. "I need to ask you something." "Go ahead." "How long have you been preparing for this? How long have you been hiding this fleet?" Admiral Morrison answered. "We've been preparing since the day we left Earth. Every exploration ship carried hidden weapons. Every peaceful trader was also a spy. Every research station was also a military base." He paused and looked directly at Zexmar. "We knew the galaxy was dangerous, so we made sure our children would never be defenseless." Captain Maya Rodriguez's voice came over the communication system. She was speaking from the Kepler system, where the colony ship was continuing its journey. "Hi, Commander. This is Captain Rodriguez. I'm escorting the New Horizons to their new home. The families on this ship still want to build a peaceful colony. They still believe in friendship between species." The screen showed children playing in the ship's corridors, drawing pictures of their new world. "Don't take that hope away from them," Maya continued. "Choose peace." Zexmar closed his eyes and thought about his own children back home. What kind of galaxy did he want to leave for them? One filled with war and fear, or one where different species could live together? "We surrender," he said quietly. "We accept trial for our crimes." The tension in the room seemed to disappear instantly. President Carter smiled again, and this time it reached her eyes. "Thank you, Commander. Admiral Morrison will work with your people to arrange the details." 1 year later, the galaxy was a different place. The Zephyrian Collective had become the Zephyrian Republic, a peaceful democracy that worked with the Galactic Council instead of threatening it. Commander Vexthul, now just Citizen Vexthul, worked as a teacher in a school that served both Zephyrian and human children. He taught them about the importance of friendship between species. The colony ship New Horizons had reached Kepler 442b and built a beautiful settlement. The colonists sent regular messages back to Earth, sharing pictures of their children playing under alien suns. President Carter stood in the same office where she had declared war on the Zephyrians. Now she was reading a letter from a young human girl on Kepler 442b. "Dear President Carter," the letter said, "thank you for keeping us safe. Our new world is beautiful, and we have made friends with some very nice aliens who live nearby. They teach us their songs, and we teach them our games. My teacher says this is how peace starts, with children learning that different doesn't mean dangerous." Carter smiled and put the letter down. Admiral Morrison entered the room carrying a report. "Status of the hidden fleets?" she asked. "Most have returned to their disguises," Morrison replied. "But they're still watching, always watching." "Good. Any new threats?" "None. The whole galaxy seems to have remembered why the old law exists." Carter nodded and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, human children were building homes on distant worlds, protected by guardians they would never see. The ancient law had been reinforced across all civilizations, written in stone and starlight and memory. "Never threaten the two, Earthborn, for they are gardeners who cultivate peace, but when pushed, they harvest war itself." Admiral Martinez, now governor of the new colony on Kepler 442b, sent a final message back to Earth. "Colony established successfully. Children safe and happy. The stars are ours, and the galaxy remembers why." In the depths of space, human ships continued their eternal watch, hidden among the stars like protective angels. They waited patiently, hoping they would never be needed again. But if they were needed, if anyone ever again threatened Earth's children, they would be ready. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Peace was possible, but it came at a price. That price was eternal vigilance and the knowledge that somewhere in the darkness, humanity's guardians were always watching. Never threaten the Earthborn. The universe itself would not forgive that mistake twice.